My name is Nova. I am 24 years old right now. I am a teacher at a small school called Cliff Bay. I teach English to young students, and I love my work very much. But today I want to tell you a story. It is the story of my life, my heart, and a boy named Caspian. It is a story about growing up, falling in love, and learning that sometimes life takes us in directions we never expected. It all began with a phone call. Against my ear, Caspian's voice was full of warmth. I could easily picture his bright blue eyes. I could see the way his skin crinkled at the corners when he smiled, his wide, happy smile. "I will be there," I promised him. His parting words stayed in my mind long after the call ended. He said, "I will see you at the kissing gate." That spot belonged to us. It had been our special place ever since we found it when we were 8 years old. Caspian and I did not exactly fit the story of the boy and girl next door. But in our tiny village, there were only about 30 houses. Everyone was basically a close neighbor. Everyone knew everyone else. The two of us were the only new students entering the local primary school when we were just 5 years old. The school was very small. There were not many children our age in the village. "Nova and Caspian, you two shall sit together," our teacher told us on that first day. We looked at each other and exchanged a pair of shy, quiet smiles. "Hi, Caspian," I said in a soft voice. "Hello," he answered. He gave me a wide grin, and I noticed a gap where his front tooth was missing. Being paired together like that was lucky for both of us. It occurred to me more than once over the years that we were very fortunate to actually like each other. We did not just like each other, we became the most inseparable of friends. By the time we reached 8 years old, we were beginning to explore farther and farther. We scouted a slowly growing area of land beyond the village limits. The open fields, the thick woods, and the maze of unpaved trails, it all became our personal playground. "I bet you are not brave enough to climb this high," Caspian challenged me one day. He was sitting on a strong tree branch above my head. His voice cracked slightly. I could tell he was scared, even though he pretended to be brave. I did not want to climb anyway, I told him. My eyes were scanning the trees, searching for a woodpecker I could hear drumming somewhere nearby. But I watched Caspian cheerfully until his feet were safely back on the ground. "You would have been terrified up there," he said, his eyes dancing with youthful pride. "I know," I answered with a simple shrug. "I will race you down to the creek," I said excitedly. At 10 years old, we were still completely inseparable. We were like shadows to each other. Our explored territory continued to grow larger and larger. "Let us try this direction," I suggested. One afternoon, I pointed toward a spot where the tall grass had been pressed down into a worn path along the edge of a field. "Where does that lead?" Caspian asked. He followed me as I climbed over the old stone wall. The path led us to the kissing gate. We did not have a name for it when we first found the old, weathered iron structure. "What exactly is this?" Caspian asked. He pushed the ancient metal gate one way to enter the U-shaped space. Then he swung it back to exit through the other side. "I have no idea," I answered. I copied his movements. We played with the gate several more times. "Why is it made to be so complicated?" he wondered. "I do not know," I repeated. "It is a total mystery." And we certainly loved a good mystery. It was my father who gave us the answer. "Ah, so you have discovered the old kissing gate," he said to me across the dinner table that evening. "It is designed so that people can walk through, but animals like cows and sheep cannot. Mind you, I have not seen a single animal in that field for many years," he added. He squeezed extra sauce onto his plate of food. "What does any of that have to do with kissing?" I asked. My mother and father looked at each other. Then they both shrugged.
"I am not entirely sure," my father admitted. "That is simply what it has always been called." So, one puzzle was solved, but I had immediately found another one. Caspian and I met on my front step after dinner to share what we had learned. My mother said the exact same thing. "He told me about the animals. Let us look it up online." I went to get my laptop. The two of us sat shoulder to shoulder on the doorstep, looking at the glowing screen together. "Here it is," I said, pointing at the text. I began reading the explanation out loud. The name comes from the fact that the gate kisses or touches the posts at the two far ends of its swinging motion. I looked up from the screen. "Well, that is incredibly boring," I announced. "It does not have anything to do with actual kissing at all." Our eyes met and held. Suddenly, there was a strange feeling in the air between us. Neither of us quite understood what it was. We were 12 years old and attending the bigger secondary school when that strange feeling finally began to make sense. "Is he your boyfriend?" the other girls in my class would ask. They always noticed Caspian waiting for me to catch the bus back to the village. "No," I would answer quickly. My face would turn red. But the question made me wonder, was he? As we sat together on the ride home, Caspian was often bursting with excitement. He told me about his geography lessons. He described a film that Mr. Ashford had shown the class about emperor penguins in the frozen Antarctic. "Did you know that emperor penguins can hold their breath underwater for up to 22 minutes?" he said enthusiastically. "I cannot even manage 2 minutes," he laughed. I sat and listened. I watched him, and I realized he was not the small boy I had grown up with anymore. I realized he was becoming tall and slender. He was quite handsome. I had never truly noticed that before. Now that I had noticed, I felt a new sense of shyness whenever I was with him. "Why are you looking at me with that expression?" he asked. "Sorry," I answered. I blushed and looked away. I was just lost and thought about something. We turned 13 and then 14. Caspian's interest in geography had grown into a true passion. I discovered that I had a natural gift for foreign languages. We did not share many classes at school, but back home in the village, we still spent every free moment together. The kissing gate remained our special spot. We would sit on the metal bars with our legs swinging. We talked about our studies or Caspian's hockey games or the latest video games or the music we were listening to. "Listen to this," Caspian suggested one day. He leaned toward me and placed one of his earbuds into my ear. "Callum told me about this band." I listened for a few moments, then I grinned. We both started nodding our heads in time with the beat. "I like this," I said, giving the earbud back to him. "They are playing a concert in the city at the town hall next month. My mom said she would get me a ticket for my birthday." Caspian paused for a second. Then the words came out in a quick rush. "She said she would buy a ticket for you as well if you want to go with me." Suddenly his cheeks turned bright red. That familiar, strange feeling was in the air once more. "Okay," I agreed. I felt my own cheeks begin to glow. So, we went to the concert together. Caspian's mother drove us and dropped us off at the corner of the street. "Do not forget to call me when the show ends," she reminded us. "I will pick you up right here." She watched us through the mirror as we walked toward the crowds of other teenagers. It was our very first live concert. We were both incredibly excited. As we ran toward the entrance of the hall, Caspian looked over at me. He was laughing with pure joy, and he reached out and took my hand. The following day, we returned to the kissing gate. Caspian was unusually quiet beside me. I talked non-stop about the highlights of the concert. Finally, when I paused to catch my breath, he turned to face me directly. "Will you be my girlfriend?" he asked, without any warning. I did not need even a single moment to think about it.
Okay, I said, nodding my head. He smiled. He put his arm around me and pulled me gently closer. And it was there, sitting somewhat awkwardly on the metal bars of the kissing gate, with a sharp breeze whistling around us, that our lips met for the very first time. I could not imagine a more romantic moment. We stayed boyfriend and girlfriend throughout the rest of high school, but when we reached 18, it was time for major life decisions. I have been accepted to university, Caspian announced the moment I opened the door for him. What about you? Me too. Let us go. I did not need to ask where he meant. We walked up to the kissing gate and took our usual spots on top of the structure. His arm was a warm, comforting weight across my shoulders. Did you get into your first choice? I asked. He nodded. Exit. That is a long way from here. I did not say from me, but he understood what I meant. I know. He shrugged sadly. But you will not be staying here either, will you? Where are you going? Aberdeen. It was my first choice, too. We let that reality settle in. We imagined the complicated travel between those distant cities. We had made a promise when we chose our universities. Logic had to come before emotion. Caspian wanted to follow his fascination with nature, and especially penguins. His childhood discovery about how long penguins could hold their breath had become a lifelong passion. It led him toward marine biology. I had a deep love for words. I loved reading them, writing them, and understanding their meanings. What else could I study besides English literature? We could have chosen the same university. That is what our hearts wanted. But the programs that were the best fit for our talents, those sent us to opposite ends of the country. Caspian leaned his head against mine. These are exciting times, he said quietly. We were moving in different directions, both literally and in life. I love you, Caspian. I do not want to be with anyone else, I said. Neither do I, he answered. Our eyes met. We have never really known anyone besides each other, I pointed out. He nodded in agreement. We made a second promise. If either of us met someone else, we had to follow our heart. Off we went to our universities. Life became incredibly busy. There were studies and new friends and new places. Anyone who heard our video calls would have wondered how we understood each other. We always talked over each other with excitement. We always ended our calls with, "Love you." Years passed in a pattern of separations during school terms and reunions during holidays. The kissing gate was always our first stop. Our freshman year energy eventually became a deeper focus on our studies. There's this professor, Isolde. She's incredible, Caspian told me. I have a teacher like that too, Vesper. She inspires me so much, I said. Names of friends appeared and disappeared in our conversations. By senior year and final exams, we were still looking forward to being together again. Then came the news. Nova, you will not believe this. I have an incredible opportunity. Caspian's words poured out. My professor Isolde is leading a research expedition in the Antarctic. There's a spot for me if I want it. His voice rose with excitement, as if I could ever say no. Then his eyes snapped back to me. He was suddenly serious. It means I will be gone for 2 more years. What do you think? I will stay if you want me to. I forced myself to smile brightly. Do not be ridiculous. This is the chance of a lifetime. I was starting my own journey teaching English at my dream school, Cliff Bay. We are okay? He asked. Always, I promised. 2 years passed. We talked constantly through video calls. No one understood me like Caspian. No one understood him like me. Then suddenly, his 2 years were ending. I will be home next month, he said through the screen. I am so excited to see you now.
Caspian was finally home. I was walking to meet him at the kissing gate. The sun was shining brightly. A gentle wind blew my hair across my eyes. I tucked the strands behind my ear again and again. As I approached our landmark, my hair blew across my vision once more. It took a second to find him. He was already sitting on the metal bars, but he jumped down and ran toward me the moment he saw me. "Nova!" he called in joy. He threw his arms around me. "I have missed you so much." "Me too," I whispered into his sweater. Together, we walked back to the gate. He helped me climb up onto our familiar spot. We sat there, soaking in the moment, but there was nervous energy beneath the quiet. Finally, Caspian took a deep breath. "You know that I love you, Nova," he started. His expression was unusually serious. "And I love you, Caspian," I answered. "But we both said the word at the same time." Then we stopped and burst into laughter. "You go first," he said. I shrugged. "I have met someone." I could hardly believe I was saying those words. I had loved him since I was 8 years old. "Me too." The words escaped him with relief. I felt like I might faint from the weight lifting off my heart. "Truly, truly," he nodded. "Her name is Juniper. She is from Canada. She joined our research team 3 months ago. She loves penguins even more than I do." "What about you? Orion?" "He is Ren's brother. You remember Ren, who drives me to school?" We just clicked instantly. "So, you and this Orion, it is serious?" he asked. I nodded slowly, my heart filled with warmth every time I thought of Orion. "I believe so." Caspian laughed and shook his head. After all these years, we sat side by side on the kissing gate. His arm rested across my shoulders. "I always thought it would end up being us," he whispered. "I know." "Maybe if I had not moved away," he regretted. I shook my head. It happened to me too, and I stayed right here. It is just fate, I suppose. The sun felt warm on our faces. I closed my eyes and rested my head against his. "I will always love you, Caspian. You know that, right?" His arm tightened around me. "I love you too, but this new thing is different," I offered. "Completely different." We shared a smile. "Be happy, little one," he murmured. "You too, Caspian. You too." And there we sat on our kissing gate as the afternoon sun painted the fields in shades of gold. We were no longer children. We were no longer each other's future, but we would always be part of each other's story. Some loves are meant to last forever. Some are meant to teach us how to love. Ours was both. The kissing gate had witnessed our first shy smiles, our first kiss, and now it watched as we gently let each other go. Letting go did not mean forgetting. It meant growing. It meant trusting that the love we had shared would always be part of who we were. And the kissing gate, it would always be ours. Thanks for listening to my story.